Thank you to the Dean of Hospitality for attending and giving consideration to this proposal. Before getting into the venture, I feel that it is important to state that my hope is for this venture to evolve over time and that it'll grow and pick up momentum as it does. The social venture being proposed has a three-pronged value proposition that begins with putting to good use excess food materials that would otherwise be lost at some point in the supply chain and diverted away from the landfill. The second prong of the value proposition is in giving some comfort to a very marginalized and equally vulnerable community, Ottawa's homeless, by spending revenues made from rescued produce on warm and dry socks to be handed out to those that need them the most. The third prong is in stamping out apathy among our students in the face of different problems or struggles of the day and showing them that there are many creative ways to make meaningful impacts with small gestures. These are the thoughts that have given way to the social venture that I am proposing called Soup for the Soul. My name is Michael Farber, and for the past 20 years I have worked in professional kitchens, the majority of which paid very special attention to proper ordering, inventory management, and stocking local, as well as teaching in the culinary program here at the college. Here are the problems. According to a recent report by the Canadian Press, our home Canada is one of the worst culprits of food loss along the supply chain in the entire world. 58% of all food produced in Canada is wasted at some point from when it is being farmed to its final consumer. That is significantly more than half. That works out to roughly 35.5 million tons annually. And if a dollar value helps you equate how drastic this is, that works out to $49 billion. The greenhouse gas emissions from this lost food that ends up in landfills is staggering. This is our fault and it's preventable. Thankfully, work is being done to combat this food waste by companies like Second Harvest out of Toronto that started rescuing food in 1985. They report that they have rescued better than 140 million pounds of healthy, perishable food from 740 sources, distributing to 272 social service agencies and providing food for 34,000 meals a day. Being part of the food rescue revolution is a very important cause and one that Soups for the Soul endeavors to join. The second problem involves Ottawa's homeless population. As Ottawa's population nears 1 million people, 1,400 of its residents remain homeless and living on the street. We joke that Ottawa has 11 seasons, but the harshness of at least 9 of those seasons is no laughing matter for those without a roof over their head, as they can be brutally cold and constantly wet. There are several agencies that take in and distribute donated clothing, including coats, pants, and sweaters. However, according to CanadaHelps.org, new socks that are warm and dry are the least donated and least top of mind to be donated article of clothing. A coat or a hat only helps so much when your feet are perpetually cold and wet. The third problem is one that doesn't necessarily need to have a statistic attached to it. You can see it everywhere. While there are nonprofits and social ventures and individuals doing their best to make change happen, they are still well in the minority. It isn't to say that the majority of people don't care, but life is busy and life is hard for most. People enroll in college or trade school with usually one thing in mind: obtain a good but quick education to better their personal circumstances. I did it myself. 2 years of culinary management and boom, I was off to the races. Now, I did hear murmurs of the good that the college does, like donating unused food to the food bank or prepared meals to the mission, but that's it. I never thought about how I could help, nor was I asked. So like all my classmates, the mission was simple: take what's given to you in the classroom and go out into the world and execute. Our solution to these problems begins at the community level with 3 of Ottawa's major supermarkets, Loblaws, Sobeys, and Farm Boy, who have agreed for the purpose of this venture being proposed to allow us to use of their overstocked, overripe, and generally imperfect looking produce that is destined to be wasted. A number of local farms are also on board to donate some produce to have their names associated with the project. From this produce, the students and I will be producing soups to be sold in air-sealed half-liter mason jars at the college and at a host of participating restaurants around the Ottawa area, the revenue from which will in part go towards the bulk purchase of warm socks to be distributed and made available at local shelters, clothing donation agencies, and food banks. The students will also help with the development and evolution of ideas to expand the venture, but more on that in just a little bit. The rest of the revenue will go into a war chest for these future developments. The target market for the sale of the soup is college faculty, as it will be in part sold at the college's savoir faire in and amongst the other products that the culinary students produce for sale, and regular restaurant goers, as about 10 jars will be delivered weekly to a number of restaurants throughout the city and offered for sale as a take-home item. Companies that derive support from the same market that we are hoping to serve are companies like Happy Planet, which among other products makes all natural and healthy soups, and also provides countless hours of community work in homeless shelters and food banks. Also, Eat More Soup, who through the production of their soup offer employment opportunities and job training to vulnerable adults for the past 38 years. What differentiates us, however, is the mission of food waste reduction and student empowerment. We asked the college only for use of the production kitchen, which includes the industrial canning machine to seal and sanitize the mason jars, and to get us started with a flat of about 200 jars. Jars are $1 a piece, and we anticipate being able to reload our stock from the sale of our very first batch of soup. So aside from the initial purchase of the first round of mason jars and the production kitchen in which to work, all we ask of the college is to allow the volunteer hours of the students to work towards the completion of the 5,000 hours that they require in order for them to qualify for their Red Seal Interprovincial designation. These soups will be expertly crafted by chefs in training, and the taste and quality will be superb. As it is a perishable product, even though it is canned in vacuum-sealed mason jars, each jar will have a fairly tight best before date, and customers will be encouraged to consume quickly, and hopefully encouraged to purchase often. The mason jars can be kept by the consumers and reused either for bulk purchases at stores or as storage jars at home. Competitive companies all charge $6.99 for roughly the same quantity of soup, which is where our company intends to begin selling at. So with the college's initial help of jars, the donated produce, partnering restaurants helping us sell, and the volunteered time given by the students, the first bulk order of socks should be able to be ordered within the first month of operation, and the operation should be self-sustaining from that point. After this milestone, new ideas for down the road, such as small social supermarkets or full dinners at reserved dates in the college's restaurant dining room for underprivileged people, may eventually be realized. And that is Soup for the Soul. Thank you very much for your time.